All right, what's going on, guys? This is Logan with West Desert Shooter. This is going to be a good one today because Sierra 77 grain bullets usually shoot well. I want to tell you guys right now, I will have range footage with a target camera in this video, so just so you know. I'm working on doing more of that. I just need to quit being lazy is really what it is. So let's talk about our components for the day. We're going to be shooting 223 Remington, and I'm using once-fired PMC brass. Now, this is cheap ammo. 55 grains, this is one of the cheapest loaded ammos you can grab that's brass-cased. In my old PSA Palmetto State Armory videos, I used to get really good groups with this with Hornady 75 grains. I have not got good results with the 5.56 brass that I've been reloading that I have like 1,000 pieces of. I just haven't gotten consistent results with that stuff. I remembered that I used to get good results with this PMC, so I bought 100 of these, and I still need to fire some of them. But I'm using PMC brass in this. Now, in the primer holes, like the flash holes in the brass, a lot of this PMC brass has an offset, like visibly offset flash hole, which you would think is like, oh, that's really gonna mess with stuff. I get fantastic results with this PMC brass, so I'm looking for Lapua 223. It's out of stock everywhere currently. So we're gonna try out some PMC for now and go from there. So it was once fired from the factory, got it all resized using my Lee resizing die. I've had a set of Lee dies since I started reloading. It was the first thing I reloaded was with my 223 Lee dies. I finally upgraded them. So I bought a set of L.E. Wilson 223 dies. My sizing die has not showed up yet, but I got my cedar die. That's because I bought them from two different places. But the cedar die is what we used in this video, and we set our overall length with that. We set our overall length for all three powders to 2.55 because maximum magazine length is 2.260. So I'll give myself just a little bit of extra room in there, just a few thousandths. For powders, we've got Winchester Staball Match. This is a newer powder I've been playing with, and I've been getting really consistent muzzle velocities with it, so it seemed like a good choice. I was very excited to see how Staball would do today. We've got ARcomp. It's in the name. It should work, right? I've seen great results with it online, like Johnny's Reloading Bench, Mark 262 series, stuff like that. Another one that I found recently is Hodgdon Benchmark. This one, I didn't have like a real niche area I was like aiming it for. It just works with multiple cartridges that I have. And today we're gonna see what Benchmark can do with the 77s. Seems like a good place to start. So, Sierra 77s, we were using Federal AR small rifle match primers. Outside of that, guys, that's pretty well it. So, for Staball Match, we're shooting 23.5 grains. For Benchmark, we're going to be shooting 22 grains. And then for ARcomp, we're shooting 21.5 grains. I was going to load 21.8, and I watched Johnny's Reloading Bench video like as I was loading it, and he mentioned that at 22.1 grains, he was getting pressure signs. And I was like, you know, 21.8 is pretty close to that. Let's back off just a bit. So I went to 21.5, which in his video, he shot a tiny little group with ARcomp at that charge weight. It's not exactly why I picked it. I just wanted to stay away from pressure, but still have a good stout charge. This is within the posted reloading data. I went to Alliance website for that reload data, and their max charge was 22.1, I believe. So I backed off a good bit there to make sure things were safe. And then I'm pretty sure I just picked up these load data from Hodgdon's website. Fantastic reloading website. Super awesome. Definitely check out Hodgdon's website. So outside of that, no charges were compressed during any of this, so that went well. Used my RCBS Chargemaster Lite. That's been running good again. Happy with that guy. And yeah, I think it's time to get out to the range. Let's check out some groups, see how things go while we're shooting, and watch those bullets magically appear on the paper.
All right, friends, here we are at the 100-yard line. Got my UPR15, and we're starting out with Staball Match loaded up to 23.5 grains, Sierra 77s. I'm really excited to see how this goes. The previous few trips I've had with Staball Match, it's shot extremely consistent velocities, so definitely interested to see how it does with the 77s. Haven't seen much info on that combo, and I think it'll do well, so let's get to shooting. The rifle is not cold. I did a 5-shot 0 confirmation with it, and she's now ready to go. Loaded up, It has cooled off since I shot those first 5 rounds, so she should be ready to shoot 10 rounds nice and consistent. Let me check my brass. First velocity doesn't seem like it'll be getting us in trouble. Sweet. Looks excellent. Alright, let's stay behind the gun and keep shooting at this point. I will probably adjust my zero if necessary after this first group because they're hitting a little bit on the left side. I'd like to square them up a bit on the target. Okay, let's see here. That was my first 5 shots, so it's time to move on to group number 2. And I am gonna make a correction on the zero. All right, looks like a pretty decent showing on the second group from where I can see. First group had a little more vertical stringing than I would have liked. All right, time to let the rifle cool off. We'll cycle through some guns. I brought 3 out today, so it's going to get a good long break and let itself cool off while it sits in the shade. It's nice and cool out here. It's only gonna be, it's like 50 degrees right now. It'll get up to 60 today. We're out here in the morning. So overall looking pretty good. All right guys, second groups with the AR-15. Cycling through those guns, I was messing with some reloading stuff and taking my time. So this gun is cold, like physically cold. This thing's been sitting in the shade. My ammo is also cold, so it's probably sitting around 40 degrees, 40 to 50 degrees of what the actual temperature of the ammo is and the gun itself. So she is more than cooled off. She is cold. Yeah, but I highly encourage you, if you haven't checked out my 7mm 08 reloading videos with the Barnes 171s, I just had a target camera on my last 2 groups with that. Amazing results. You guys need to check that out. I'm super excited. I'm in a really good mood right now. So I want to keep stacking up bullets, and let's see what this AR-15 can do. We've got benchmark at 22 grains. This is my first round I'll ever fire using benchmark. I've also got some loaded up, I think, in my 7mm 08 as well, but I haven't got to it yet today. So first round's a benchmark, 22 grains, Sierra 77s, 2.255 overall length. Just a couple extra thousandths inside that magazine. Well, let's get to it, guys. Got my tracked. Well, let's see, which one is this? 4 to 25. But UPR15 is always one of my favorites. She can lay it down for sure. Let's stack them up. Make sure I'm shooting the right target. I got a whole bunch of targets down there right now. Okay, oh, safety works. Good God. Okay, let me check my brass real quick. No, I don't see any ejector, extractor stuff. It's just a little bit beat up from running through an AR-15. It's funny, your bolt action brass comes out just absolutely mint and perfect. The gas guns with a can on them, you got to kind of look through the mess that you see and actually look at the brass. Primers look just fine. This is right where we want to be. This all looks good. We're within low data. Everything should be working out, but we got to double check. So here we go. So I'm using my MDT ground pod here, and it doesn't have the spiky feet like my Sky pod, and just can't quite preload it quite the same. That Sky pod is excellent for shooting out of the dirt. So far, first group looking pretty good from what I can see. Okay, I'm shooting through the Mirage a little bit. From what I can see, that looks really good. Yeah, not bad. And overall, good performance from the benchmark here. Not a bad showing. Okay guys, on to our last 2 groups with ARcomp loaded to 21.5 grains. This will be an interesting one. My target camera was blinking red when I started recording for this string, so let's get to it. Unfortunately, I may not even have any footage, so we'll shut up and start shooting. It's the furthest back ejection pattern I've seen today. Right on par with what I would expect. Nice, ARcomp's doing its job. Make sure we're getting a good idea. Man, these pieces of brass are hot. And contrary to popular belief, it's actually not from the powder burning in there. It's because it's getting ripped out aggressively, and it's actually the friction of being pulled out of the chamber that heats these up. That's why bolt action brass is not hot when you gently take it out. That one wasn't my greatest trigger pull, but I actually can't even really see the group. I think it's shooting into the black. So, first 5 are down, moving on to our second target. Powder's velocities are doing well on the first 5. Let's see if it continues. Okay, not my most consistent shooting on my second group either. I think we still managed to do a decent group from what I can see. All right, ARcomp doing a good job with velocities. Okay guys, fun day of shooting out here on the range, cycling through 3 guns. We just finished up with the AR-15, so we'll see you guys back at the bench.
All right, here we are back at the bench. Time to talk about our results. Let's take a look at our brass. Now I shoot suppressed, so it gets it kind of dirty and it makes it a little bit harder to tell like where you're hitting pressure or if it's just dirty. So you kind of have to really inspect it. But overall, as I look at these, none of the primers seem overly flattened or anything like that. Although I do see one of them did have getting close to pressure signs. And that would be ARcomp, which is the one that we backed off of because of Johnny's Reloading Bench warning, being like, hey, we're starting to see some pressure signs here. Now, these are signs that I'm actually comfortable with shooting. I would make a load out of this if necessary. But yeah, we're just seeing some ejector smears, mostly just ejector smears, just little shiny spots. Got just one piece with a burr there from the extractor, but overall just right on the edge of a little too much. So maybe back off 2 to 3 tenths and I think she'd be nice and happy. But the other 2 looking great. No, nothing really to see there. As I'm running my hand over this. Yeah, overall looking good. Just a couple little burrs here. And these are, should be in the middle. This would be ARcomp, so this would be Benchmark. So Benchmark's getting pretty close as well. That's probably about all that we could ask for Benchmark with a 77 grain without starting to beat up our brass more. So let's take a look at our groups. Starting off with Staball Match. This is the one I was most excited about. It's been giving me consistent velocities through other cartridges. I wanted consistent velocities and I wanted good accuracy. When we actually put rounds on paper, really interesting looking groups here. So take a look at these. Group 1 was 0.90. Group 2 was 0.87. If you flip group 2 upside down, it's almost a mirror image of the first one. And there are only 30 thousandths difference in overall group size. This thing shot almost the exact same group back to back. It was really weird. Like the shape of it and everything. It looks like a letter Y. I don't know, whatever, it just happened to shoot that way, but pretty interesting nonetheless. So first group, 0.90, second group, 0.87. I know this gun can do better than that, so I don't think it loves the Staball Match with the 77s. How did it do as far as velocities? Across 10 shots, we averaged 2486 with an SD of 13.9. In my gas gun, I'm pretty happy about that. We had an ES of 46. All 3 of these powders today did pretty good on standard deviations. The gun seemed pretty happy with all of these. Unfortunately, the Staball Match is going to be the 2 worst groups of the day. It's just how it goes sometimes. But if that's my worst group of the day, the gun's shooting, we're having a good day at the range. So moving on to Benchmark, that's what we shot next. Between the different powder charges that we shoot, I was shooting 2 other guns in between them. So the gun would sit there for probably 20 to 25 minutes, if not more, in between shooting. So it had plenty of time to cool off. I even let a rifle cool blow through the suppressor for the first 4 or 5 minutes while I moved on to the next gun, and then I would shut it off and just let it sit in the shade. So every time I grabbed my AR-15, it was cold. Like the handguard was actually cold when you pick it up off the ground and whatnot. So the gun was nice and cool. So, Hodgdon benchmark, 22 grains of powder. Let's take a look at our groups. First group looks really good with that 0.63. We can see that it has that one flyer that, man, if that wasn't there, it would have been a pretty sweet ass group. So on our second group, hey, look at that. That flyer went into the group and shot an amazing 0.31 inches. Truthfully here, guys, I was not shooting my AR-15 as well as I could have this day. I was being a bit lazy on my shooting form. I wasn't getting a consistent preload on the bipod. I used the MDT ground pod during all this shooting, and that was due to laziness of not switching bipods between every gun. So next time out, I'm gonna put the MDT sky pod on there. The ground pod's great. It has rubber feet, which would work a lot better on a cement bench or some kind of shooting bench setup. But in the dirt, it just doesn't have those big spiky feet like I'm used to with the sky pod. Really enjoy the bipod, looks great, functions great. It's a great affordable option from MDT, but overall just not getting that super aggressive bite into the dirt. So taking a look at our groups again, let's talk about velocities here. Across 10 shots, so both groups, I got velocities collected across both. So 10 shots, velocity of 25, 18, an SD of 13.2. Again, pretty solid SD there for an AR-15 with an ES of 47. That's going to be our highest extreme spread of the day. For an AR-15 with a powder that I've never shot before, just picking a random load, pretty dang happy with that. So we did pick up some velocity versus the Staball Match. So right there, 15, yeah, we're about 30 feet a second faster overall average. So pretty cool there. That's working out to our favor. Now, moving on to ARcomp. How does ARcomp shoot for us? We get out there, let's take a look at these groups. First group measures in at 0.58 inches and then a 0.69 inch group. Now it's funny, those groups are good groups, but when they're sitting next to that benchmark 0.31, it certainly doesn't make them look that way. But I am happy with this. If I'm shooting into the 0.5s with an ammo and my AR-15, that's a good shooting round. ARcomp coming out swinging with that 5.8 and the 0.69, nice. Yeah, the second group, you can tell that these aren't really trying to stack them on top of each other quite like Benchmark was, but overall good accuracy. That's definitely one that's worth taking out and trying to shoot far with it. And ARcomp's actually going to give us our highest velocity of the day of 25.97. So it's 80 feet a second faster than Benchmark and over 100 feet a second faster than Staball Match. And then how does it go for SDs? 11.8. It's our best SD of the day with an ES of 43. So overall, really consistent ESs with these. They're all in the 40s. We had 46, 43, and 47 right here. So really good shooting. And then all of our SDs, just 2 in the low teens and then 1 at 11.8. Super consistent right here. Very interesting stuff. So the gun was working well out there for me. That Uintah UPR15, that one was coated in a Vortex Shadow Brown. Really pretty gun, and it's one of my favorite rifles. Sitting out front on the end of it, we do have my Huxworks 7.62 tie suppressor. Got a T&K hunting suppressor cover. I do not have the fire sleeve in there. It's just that suppressor cover to help with mirage out there. Shooting groups like this, or how I shoot long range, I shoot really slow. I don't really get my cans all that hot, so I don't really need the fire sleeve with what I do. Moving on back on the rifle, again, we got the MDT ground pod, and then we had our tracked optics up top on this guy. And that one is sitting in a Burris pepper mount, I believe. We got the Uintah Precision trigger in that rifle. It's a 16-inch barrel. It's a 1-to-8 twist with a mid-length gas system, if memory serves there. Threaded half 28. It's a stainless barrel that's been coated black. So just an overall fantastic rifle. I really like that gun. One of my absolute favorites. So that pretty well covers all of our data here. I hope that you guys enjoyed the content. Definitely let me know what some of your favorite loads with the 77 grain are. I mentioned Johnny's Reloading Bench a few times there. He has an excellent series of cloning Mark 262. I don't really care to clone Mark 262. I'm not trying to use the same brass and the same primer and do all that. It was a really fascinating video series, but for me, I just want something with a 77 grain that gets good velocity, consistent velocity, that I'm able to take out to distance. Now I'll continue playing with these because I have a lot of these 77s, and it's a really great bullet option for shooting good groups. We may load up some with ARcomp because I'm ready to go shoot some long range. It's been a while since I smacked steel at a couple 100 yards, and I want to bring the AR-15, and I think this guy could be the guy to do it. So I appreciate you guys watching. Drop your comments down below, hit the links down below, check out the rifle build in the description, and we will see you guys in the next one.